Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. I needed something different today, something fun, something that I can really get into, so we are going to have another episode of How to Win Every Gap of Rohan game ever. We're going to be analyzing this strategic masterpiece and breaking it all down so we know exactly what we need to do to be a Gap Pro. Let's go ahead and introduce the players as they are walking towards the center, and then we will get on with our lives and this game. We have on the north corner here on the right hand side, Heaven. He is going Seraphim. We've got Cyber in the faction of choice for Korvathra. Artio going UEF, and last but certainly not least, Later. I'm not sure what emphasis to put on that name. I guess the latter syllable, so we're going to go with Later. Big R after all. He is going Aeon. So that's all four factions represented for the right-hand team. We've got Marakashik. Another strange emphasis with bunches of capital letters. He's going Aeon, so that's a symmetrical matchup. We got Seraphim for GDP. We've got Blood Axe going Cybern and UEF on the north side for Tiptushi. And yes, that is all four factions on the left as well. I love the early bomber. You gotta get that aggression in there. A lot of people think the Gap of Rohan is a static map, but my friends, that is not the case. First bomber can be quite devastating depending on what your opponent is doing. That bomber's going to come over here, hover right over there. If he would have headed straight in, he would have been able to hit 3 engineers with one shot, but as it is, he's going to pull off a double hover bomb there, grab 2 engineers, pick up a third, and then head south away from the anti-air. So very successful first bomber from Heaven. As we all know, there is a buttload of mass in the middle of the map that can be reclaimed. We've got 4 ACUs closing in on it to grab it. Another 2 engineer kills. 3 P-Gen kills. That bomber is going crazy. 8 out of 9 kills already, about to pick up a veterancy. An anti-air turret does go down, which will pick it off, but that was a 2-vet, 9 or 10 kill bomber before it was all said and done. That is a ridiculously good first bomber, exactly what everyone should strive for. Artio and GDP facing off, as are Korvathra and Blood Axe. That's some badass names up here in the middle. Sounds almost like some Norse warriors or something over on this side, grabbing that little bit of reclaim. And Artie coming up for GDP in the mid. That is going to push the health down on Artio and force him back. That extra damage is not something you want to be taking when you have a possibility of getting double teamed. Blood Axe coming down as well. Artio running for his life, but I don't know if he is going to make it. Let's check the reclaim numbers very, very quickly. Korvathra at 1,800. We've got Artio with 2,200. GDP on 19, and last, Blood Axe. He has got 1,000. So Artio did get the most reclaim, and he is getting out with his life, albeit at a measly 2,800 health, so that, I guess, was probably worth it. It's a couple extra 100 reclaim. Yeah, I don't think anybody would complain about that. And looking at the south side, we had a bunch of aggression on the north side early with that bomber. We are going to have some aggression on the south side as well. Got a handful of flares moving across the map and a T1 bomber to top it all off, killing 4 engineers in 1 hit. As he passes by. That is actually 8 kills total, so he has hit some other things as well. He's going to wing it around, and I would love to see a hit there too. He'd get another 4 in 1 shot. Flare picking up an engineer there, Flare picking up mexas over there. Not entirely sure why he didn't just send tanks if he's going to send 4 flares, but it is what it is. He can do what he pleases. The bomber still on 8 kills. Like I said, I'd love to see that, because that would be another amazing hit. For that bomber. 4 in 1 is about as good as you can ask for on the T1 bomber's AoE. There she goes, and it is, yes, it is good. 4 engineers and some damage on the P-Gen. Alright, so things will start to settle down just a little bit. We all know that Gap of Rohan is that's all, folks. It is an economy game. You need to tech up as quickly as you possibly can while doing an efficient amount of damage to the opposing team. You don't want to cripple yourself by building too many combat units, because nobody has a lot of use for combat units in the mid-game, but you do want to try to kill off at least a couple of mass extractors. It does look like Heaven is going to be able to airlift a few artillery pieces into the back here. The tanks are moving to the front for Tiptushi, so that is probably going to be highly effective, as it's going to take them a while to respond to that. So that is one of those rare cases where early combat units can actually be put to good use. Got another drop loading up right there. It's going to move up to the front. So this is exactly how you're supposed to time it out. Drop in the back, force him to pull all of his units into the back of the base, and then you drop units in the front while he is responding in the back. And you just kind of seesaw him back and forth, exploiting him at your every whim. And yeah, that is basically how you destroy someone's economy. Artillery moving into the base, going to wipe out power first. Vital resource it is. And then move on to the mass extractors. Hopefully he can nail that hydro. Looks like Tiptushi is only making about 260 power at the moment, so that hydro loss will be devastating. A little bit of a mix-up on the micro there, moving into range of the point defense, but that can be remedied by a quick retreat. Tiptushi coming back to deal with that in person with his ACU. This drop is probably not going to be as effective as was planned, but it is maybe going to get that T2 mass extractor. A lot of artillery shots in the air, and it is good. T2 mechs down. That is just about as effective as attack missile right there. And more units still coming in on the north side. So Heaven playing Tiptushi like a fine guitar and coming out ahead for it. Maybe, nope, doesn't look like anything else is loading up. I still see, there it is. There's a drop order, the purple fairy right there. Ah, purple fairy. I never really made that connection on that. Gonna drop a couple engineers in the front right there, and all in all, Tiptushi is having a horrible time of it. 200 power income, 25 mass income, lowest by both measurements, and he is struggling to combat Heaven, dumping all of those units onto his head. Hopefully his teammates will come in at some point to help him out. There are some interceptors, but they're a little late to the party. Oh, just in time. Transport coming down. This one is going to land, though. That is unfortunate. It should be able to take out that point defense. The tanks are getting shredded, though. That will leave the artillery undefended. And that is going to be that, I think, for Heaven's early offensive. I think we're officially in the middle game now. T1s are just about going to be at the end of their usefulness. You can see what Heaven's been doing. He has been teching. He's got 3 T2 mass extractors, working on a 4th one. He is getting T2 on his commander. All in all, it is looking like it's going to turn into a tech game. Point defense in the pass for later. I'm not sure how that point defense is supposed to shoot anything, though, because it is definitely bollocks on the targeting solutions. Yeah, that's not going anywhere at all anytime soon. But you know what? The tanks can just run around it. They're just going to go around the outside edge, come down here anyway, totally bypass that point defense. I like the response from those T1 units. Blood Axe pushing some Mantis north in order to help out his teammate. Might be a little too late, but he is going to make the attempt anyway. Tiptushi still on the bottom, making up plus 400 power, over 35 on the mass income. He is on his way to recovery, but Heaven sitting on 40 and 518. So a noticeable difference there. I suppose it was worth it for Heaven. Let's go ahead and bump the speed back up here as we wait for the mid-game to pass. I like the T2 transports in the back here. A lot of artillery on those sons of guns. Are there going to be more? Apparently not. It is a scout spam fest, sighting out to see what's going on, and I spy a tac missile. That would be Korvatra shoving a TML up where the sun don't shine, all in GDP's base. T2 mechs going down there, probably going to hit the others as well. The assistance on that TML is very handy because it does have a rapid fire launch. 4 barrels on that gun instead of the single that the other factions boast. Instead of having to cycle between each one, it simply loads one into the next chamber and fires away while staying open the entire time. Fantastic firing capacity on those. Artillery has hit the base. Heaven moving in. I don't think he has energy storage for an overcharge. Energy storage going down. It's too bad he didn't have it when the transports were dropping it. Actually reclaiming a artillery there, I think. There's the overcharge. 5 artillery in one shot. Those arties going to stop moving around. Focus firing on the T2 PGen. They will get at least 1 kill in this base. T2 mechs and a PGen. That is going to be it. Heaven sucking up the rest of those. T2 Commander, funnily enough, does actually do more damage by reclaiming than it does by damaging with the main gun. So keep that in mind, folks. You can reclaim a T1 point defense in just a couple of seconds, where it would take you 14 seconds firing one shot at a time, taking for granted that there are no wall sections. So play like a pro if you're on Gap. Do what Heaven do. Okay, more drops. Up on the north side, we have got to stay on our toes because there is actually a lot going on in this game. That drop is being anticipated, though. There's a radar right there that's catching it. May not be able to catch it with interceptors, but the tanks can be in place, ready to grab those artillery as soon as they drop off the transport. There are Mantis over here. I'm not entirely sure. They probably just came across the mid right there because no one is watching the front. But it is what it is. They will claim a T2 mass extractor for their own and then move southward. Maybe grab that T2 or T1 radar right there. It'd be nice to kill that T2 engineer as well. That would be a heavy loss for Marakashik, however you pronounce that name. He has got to get another T2 Engie out and over there to kill or to build any TMD that would prevent more snipes. So, the TML is kind of going unused at the moment, but it did a tremendous amount of damage both to orange and a little bit... Well, no, it was mostly orange. Never mind. He is firing at yellow now, who does not have any protection, but those are all T1 mexes, so it's kind of a waste of attack missile. Not completely, but I definitely wouldn't shoot at that. Okay. Well, eventful game so far. We have settled into yet another lull as we're waiting for ecos to finish and for things to get bigger. We're just going to bump up the speed here and chillax. Scouts pinging back and forth across here. Always nice to see. Let's actually check in with ecos while we have a moment to breathe. Korvatra stalling just a little bit on power, but he is building a T2 P-Gen, so he is probably going to finish that just fine on his storage. 100 income. Nicely done there, good sir, on 2,700 reclaim. Reclaim numbers are not going to look that great in gap in most cases. Power stall for Artio and Blood Axe sitting on fairly nice numbers, 58 over there. Actually, you could read down the list here. It looks like the eco winner would be Korvatra if he were not power stalling. There we go, he's finished his P-Gen. He is now good to go. Tiptushi has caught up. He is at 81 mass income, so he has passed most of the other players. Once again, he did have a fair little bit of reclaim from those T1 units. Nothing too terribly much, but just enough to get back on his feet. Love that artillery hit right there. Actually, yeah, it was artillery. It was not the bomber. Okay, what is coming up next in this? We've got a setup for a T2 air build there. Tiptushi grabbing, looks like resource allocation. We've got a T2 factory down here that is pumping out engineers, and that is a setup probably for multiple resource allocation upgrades as soon as that first one is done. I spy with my little eye a Corsair snipe. There's a couple of T2 gunships out here. There's a whole lot of interceptors for the left side team. I think the right might have forgotten about air control. If you're going to be a gap pro, you gotta have something to defend yourself with, and in this case that is going to come in the form of flak. That air cleaner is going to take a massive swipe at those Corsairs as they come around the first time, knocking 2 out of the sky and heavily damaging the rest. If Artio can survive just a couple of passes, that cleaner will definitely live up to its name and clean all the Corsairs out of the air. 1,700 health left on that ACU. He better dance. Get light on your feet, Artio, because those bombers are coming around for another pass. 2 hits from the bomber, and you are dead. Perfect dodge that time around. Thank goodness for semi-unreliable Corsair targeting. 1,800 health still remaining, taking a couple of hits from a, well, I guess projectiles. I'm not sure what those little air-to-surface missiles are called in this one. I am getting hung up here, but he is doing a fairly decent job of dodging, say 90% of them. And those Corsairs are going to get knocked out of the air. However, there are 3 more coming in that have not yet been sighted by the team. He's going to stand still, try to build a shield, and no! There goes Artio. Well, there is one big advantage to this, and it's actually something that you can pull in most team games if you just surreptitiously allow an ACU to die. You get all of the reclaim from their base, and that lets you rush a T4 or a bunch of T3 mexes or pretty much anything you damn well please. And you can see there's already a drop. Engineers loaded up in the transport before he was even dead. I think that Heaven was just playing as a gap pro, anticipating that loss and waiting to get his mitts on the mass. He is going to drop those engineers right here in the middle of the base, snag all of that lovely reclaim while he can, and probably grab all those mass extractors as well while he is at it. Korvatra really not making a move on the rearward portion there. He might be getting out, yes, to build some point defense on that side or not. He is going to back up and build them here because he sees those units coming. Then he is going to try to snag control of this bit of mass right there. So that is going to bring us back up to speed with that little flurry of activity there. We're just going to have to wait as the players build up for the next round. It's almost like a boxing match. There are rounds with rests in between, and sometimes you get a KO and sometimes you don't. I like the Team 1 point defense there. It's going to clean up the last couple of tanks that were bugging them. Then we got the main forces of rhinos moving back up to the front. Obviously, you do not want to waste your resources on mobile units whenever possible, but you got to do what you got to do. There's a strap bomber. We have a T3 air move by Tiptushi, which is kind of surprising. He was the one that got his eco bombed out, and he beat his opponent to T3 air. So that's going to be a little bit of a toughie to get rid of. We also have ASF and Swift Winds from Marrakeshik. I have no idea how to pronounce that name whatsoever. So that is going to be still a total air loss for the right side. There is a single solitary ASF that is about to get dropped by its opponent. No, it actually is going to win that. But when you're versus three other ASF and a handful of Swift Winds, it's not really going to help you that much. So those guys are going to have to come up with some kind of solution to deal with that. Korvathra building up some hives, got some build power going on. He's got a T3 HQ and support factory that he'll be able to spam some bricks out of. But right now we have a bigger problem. There is a Monkey Lord headed over from the left team. They have team built a T4 as they're oppressing the other team. And hopefully that will be able to ram right through the middle, break this base, kill an ACU, and then work its way through the rest of the team. I am sorry, folks. Allergies are killing me. I feel like I have a frog in my throat all the time, every time. I do like the rhinos moving in on this side. They're probably going to score an easy kill on this T2 PGen. Unfortunately, there is a tank right next to it. No, it just cleared. Nice. Did not lose a tank to the explosion. There's even a flak there to help clean up those gunships. Bricks dying in the face of that Monkey Lord. The Mazer is easily going to wipe out those units, even though they have really close, well, 9,000 health. Percival's closer to 10,000 is what I was going to say. Korvathra running for the hills. That Monkey Lord coming in unopposed, already picked up a veterancy. 49,000 health to burn through. It's just standing off, taking a little bit of damage and shrugging it off, and burning through the shielding so that he can now reach those Cerberus turrets, pick up a brick, couple more kills. He is going to have a veterancy. What is this? That's Reclaim. It was. Could have sworn that that was actually targeted there. But it is, in fact, assisting the factory now. There it is again. Drones coming out. Nope. Reconsidering. Come on. Every time the thing moves, it tries to refocus. There it is. Reclaim on the Monkey Lord. Health dropping rapidly. 20,000. 19,000. Monkey Lord would do well to target those hives, but it is just going to keep losing HP. I'm sure the other team is wondering, where is all my HP going? I don't see anything firing at me. I'm killing stuff. Why? Need gunships. Korvathra, I can only reclaim so fast. Well, that is true, but sir, you are doing plenty at this particular moment. 3, 2, 1. Almost out of reach of the hives, and Cerberus turret's gonna finish it off. Since when was a Cerberus turret good for anything? That single Cerberus turret finished off that Monkey Lord. All hail Korvathra, master of the hives. Literally reclaimed a Monkey Lord to death. That, my friends, is what it means to be a Gap Pro. You gotta think outside the box and use every, not even a weapon, offensively to get rid of the T4s that those slimy bastards on the other team rushed to try to kill you with. Excellent denial there. Alright, let's go ahead and speed this up just a tiny little bit here. This is actually a really sneaky move here. Engineers being dropped to try to claim that T4. Bricks moving in to clean those up. Actually, they're probably just moving to the front. Just so happened to pass by the engineers. Strap Bomber would have gotten it anyway. And ASF exposing themselves to flak fire. That is not so very good. Heaven is building a nuke launcher. That should throw a little bit of a wrench into the works here. Really, the left side is pretty dang well established. They've got plenty of things to deny attacks with. They've got 4 well-established ecos. We did have a scout fly over that nuke launcher. It's going to be interesting to see if they react to it over here. All in all, the right looks a little bit hard-pressed, but I think it may all just be part of the ploy where you lure the other team into your territory and then take away their reclaim when they get a little bit too close. Another Monkey Lord moving out, but it is just going to camp on the front and act as a little bit of a bodyguard on this front entrance. Okie dokie then. I see a couple of T3 engineers, not sure what's going on there, and only well, there's one T1 mechs. I'm not sure why Heaven has not upgraded his mechs yet. He got that nuke completely off of reclaim apparently because he has very low income. Only 2 T3 mechs, hasn't even capped off or T2'd all of his other mechs, and he is building that nuke like a madman, all of his assistants going into it so that hopefully he will get it very, very quickly. Got a couple of restores out on the left side, although there is the same from the right. Monkey Lord looking awfully symmetrical through here. There are a couple of strap bombers in the back here though. That is a little worrisome. The nuke launcher is about halfway loaded, and there is a nuke defense down for Tiptushy, but I don't know that that can get loaded before the other is finished. There's another nuke defense building for Blood Axe, but that is far too little and too late to deny what is inevitably coming. It is 2/3 of the way loaded. We're just going to have to see where he targets it. It is not targeted yet, so we're going to find out together where that thing is going to hit. I'm going to leave it sped up as these things pass. As always, you can never have enough eco. You see a scattering of mass fabricators all over the map, burning off all of the excess power that the team is generating. Probably going to see some P-gens in a little bit. I guarantee you that the gap is going to move to T3 artillery at some point. We just have not seen it yet. Here comes the nuke. There it is. Now here is where things get tricky. He is nuking right on the edge of a base, which looks like a really stupid place to nuke, but he is telepathically predicting where the ACUs are going to run to. Look at that, Tiptushy walking directly into the nuke. There he goes. He is going to get about 1/3 of a base and an ACU. And that, my friends, is a worthwhile nuke. He may not land another one this game. There's probably going to be defense everywhere within the next 2 minutes, but he got his ACU before it was all said and done. Well done there, Heaven, well done. He's going to throw down a Quantum Gateway in celebration and start beaming in some fellow partygoers. Obviously, none of these things are actually humans. You can't talk to them that well. You can't interact with them, and they definitely cannot shoot confetti. But if he brings in an SACU, he'll have at least a little bit of company in his base to celebrate that victory. Cerberus turrets trying to knock down some Harbingers here, but I don't think the poor little Cerberuses are going to have the firepower to accomplish that. Bricks, on the other hand, they will be able to reach out and touch those things. Got to work at it a little bit harder than normal because of the shields. There we go. Monkey Lord cleaning up with the long-range guns and Mazer to the face for the last 2. There's a Tsar. Somebody decided that they want a donut. And it looks like Marikashik has decided that he also wants a donut. Although he was not able to build his as quickly because his ACU walked out to pick up a scattered piece of reclaim, surely from a T1 scout that later dropped over there as wreckage in order to disrupt the build patterns on this side of the map. Tsar is going up quickly, already at 6,000 HP. We got 11,000 on this side, but later has abandoned the building project with all but a single T1 engineer. He does, however, have a lot of SAM, so I don't think that Tsar will go to that base. It would be, yeah, that would be the last place I would want to hit with a Tsar. That many SAMs, you're not even going to make it in. There's a Skathis, though. All of that reclaim has been put to good use. Korvatra getting a Skathis up just in time to die to a Galactic Colossus and a Monkey Lord. I don't know, though. This may still be part of the plan to lure more reclaim in. Do they have something to respond with? Actually, no. There are 3 restorers. That is the sum total of the air offensive units on the right-hand side, and there is nothing else left other than the aforementioned Cerberus turrets. Are we going to see another reclaim trick? Possibly. I see the drones moving, but no. So it's up to the Cerberus turrets to drop these things. If I were on the left-hand team, I would definitely be hitting those hives, judging by what happened last time. But nope, there is the P-Gen targeted. That's going to take out the nuke defense as well, so it is a worthwhile target. More P-Gens falling in the chain reaction. Monkey Lord moving up to do a fair bit of damage. There's more reclaim going down there. It's gonna do it. Oh, no, it's not. GC's gonna walk out of range. 1,000. Under 1,000. Yes. No, it was not, actually. Yes, it is. It is reclaiming the GC. Holy crap. That's 2 T4 kills to that hive. That is the hero of this game. T2 point defense going down, trying to kill that Monkey Lord. You may be saying, why are they building T2 point defense? And the answer is, this has a lot of range and really good damage. Seraphim T2 PD is surprisingly good at T4 killing. It's almost as good as the Oblivion turret. Cerberus, on the other hand, not so much. But when you've got a few restores, couple of whalers, and a handful of Cerberus turrets, along with a rapidly building line of Seraphim T2 point defense, you just might have a chance at killing that Monkey Lord. Small amount of eco going to go down. No serious damage to the base, and that is that. We have another huge pile of reclaim. I don't think it was worth losing the Scathus, though. I really, really don't. That makes me think it probably was not intentional, but you never know. These are gap pros, so we will just have to wait and see if this strategy pans out. It's actually looking a bit more even now. We did lose the economy up here for the left-hand side, so they are recovering. There's the donut. It is on a move order to right there. Where are we looking at? Oh, no. I was wrong. Apparently, people do not think like I do. Marikashik is going directly for the ACU kill. He is going to clump his ASF around it, probably as body shields to try to absorb the SAM fire that is surely going to knock that donut out of the sky. ASF engaging, and you know what? Later isn't even worried about it. He is just walking back with his ACU. He did not finish his donut, unfortunately, which is kind of a sad happenstance. Here comes the Tsar, another volley, and it's falling. It's falling. It's not going to do anything. It's going to kill a couple of minor structures and the remains of that Tsar, but other than that, that donut has fallen, and it is a failure. Another reclaim donation. Yes! More mass for the cause. Another Tsar immediately going down on the same spot for later. It's like, well, I may not have been able to finish it before. I may have shifted my priority to other things, but now I have a massive, massive pile of mass, actually, to be redundant. And it is right next to my build site. I can vacuum that up and turn it into a nice, shiny new Tsar. Multiple T4 moving up. There is a Yathatha, a Megalith, more reclaim going down on that. What is being built? That would be an experimental nuke launcher. Why are you trying for an experimental nuke launcher? We will never know. How badly are you stalled? That we can find out. He is stalled at 300 mass per tick with 14k in storage, which is actually a healthy amount. If I were him, I would actually reclaim the regular nuke launcher in order to eliminate that power draw on my economy and to feed more mass into this construction. However, he does have a nuke loaded, so we're going to have to see what he chooses to do. There's T3 artillery right freaking there, building P-gens around it in order to speed up that rate of fire. That son of a gun is aimed directly at Korvatra, who just so happens to be the only person sitting under an assisted T3 shield. So that's not going to get you very far, good sir. For those of you who are wondering, if you have hives or drones or engineers or whatever else assisted to a shield, picture the health bar and the HP bar being the same mass value for the T3 unit. If the shield is damaged, you can pay for the quote-unquote repair of the shield structure in order to recharge the shield with assistance. That is my understanding. I'm not 100% sure that I am right on that, but that is what I have heard from a few people that I trust to feed that kind of information. So if you have a total cost of a shield, let's actually take a look at this. Heaven has got a T3 engineer here, and we can look. So the total cost is 3,600 mass and 60,000 power. If something knocks the shield to half health and you assist it back to full, it is going to cost you roughly 1,800 mass and 30,000 power to bring that shield back online. So with enough build power and enough economy, you can theoretically keep a shield alive against anything for an infinite amount of time. Artillery is possibly targeting the SACU, but I'm not sure why it would be targeting the SACU. Perhaps it is auto-targeted on a mechs, since whatever it was aimed at before died. But nope, there it is. It is going after the main base. That's the bad thing about Seraphim. They have the strongest shield and not a good engineer to cover that shield with. That nuke is almost up to 2 in the chamber, but it is not quite there yet. So we're going to have to see if that son of a gun will launch before it gets killed off by the artillery. It still has a small amount of shield coverage. Luckily, the Seraphim artillery is not perfectly accurate, but it is still pounding away on that shield cover. It will eventually fail. SACU is moving in to build another shield. Already falling right in the middle, killing the nuke defense. Not good at all. And now there's almost 2 artillery. GDP is throwing those artillery down as fast as he possibly can in order to crush this team on the other side. The Alona Oss has been abandoned, but for a single T1 Engie that will keep it from reducing its value. If you do not build on a structure, it does slowly backtrack on its completion. We're going to have to see what can stop this. Escathus. That would be a good tool, as long as it can get forward enough to actually fire before it dies to said T3 artillery, because there are now 2, which is honestly a lot more firepower than the Scathus, but not quite so many projectiles, although it does have quite a substantial amount. So, what you gonna do when the Scathus comes for you? You are going to die. In just a tiny amount of time, that is going to have enough shells in the air to kill all of that. There is another Tsar ready. Left side beat right once again to the donut. Gonna have to see where they drop it this time. T3 shields going up at a furious pace and being assisted for all their worth in order to keep that Scathus alive. Scathus shells now impacting. When those P-gens blow, it's going to lend itself to one huge bomb. There's the chain reaction. They are all gone. And that is the death of the hopes of Orange. We didn't scoot. Yes, you should have scooted. If you scoot your T3 artillery, it will not get hit. You can dodge artillery shots after all. Yes, again. Apparently this is a regular thing. Everybody always forgets to scoot. The Tsar is coming in. The Tsar is taking damage. It's dropping. And the GC has saved it. He caught the donut so that it did not hit the Scathus. Good job, friend. Good job. Everyone should be patting Later's GC on the back for taking one for the team. Yes, it was a lot of damage, but he has a lot of health. He's going to get a little bit of surgery for catching all that weight. Collapsed a knee there, but he will be fine. He will be dandy, and the Scathus is still pounding away on this base. There goes a nuke defense. Does that mean we're about to see a nuke launch from this side? No, because the nuke is dead. It did die. That is sad. I was hoping to see a nuke, but oh well. Korvathra, nuke defense gone in mid. Watch for blue strats. Yes, there are a handful of strats. Not very many, but there are a few. Headed over towards the mountain. They are kind of stalled there. If he doesn't watch out, those are going to auto-target on the radar. There they go. Here come the ASF. And all is folly. Down go the strats for no reason whatsoever. Oh well. I think that the Scathus is the ultimate solution to this map, because it is currently mopping the floor with 3 players. Destroyed the artillery, destroyed the nuke defenses, destroying the infrastructure. I guess that's why they call it a game ender, right? The donut is finally complete. Later. Moving that donut up towards the mid. Not sure where he's planning on dropping it, but hopefully he can put it somewhere important, because this game needs to wrap. There is a nuke just barely completed, and the Scathus is targeted on it. I'm sure they were hoping that that would have a chance to fire, but I don't think you can escape notice for 5 minutes when there's a Scathus online. And consistent scouting. The donut hitting that megalith for all he's worth, dropping the health 3k per second. But there's a bunch of SAMs in the way, gonna knock that donut out of the sky, fall back, and now it is but a decoration in the top of the hill. That's actually epic right there. I'm gonna, I am going to screenshot that. Right there. Ha! That might just be my wallpaper someday soon. Alright. Looks like we've got a lot of Yathathas building down here. Orange has some extra mass that he wants to get rid of, and he is going to get rid of it into a group of T4s, which actually they do need because there are 5 T4 units moving across. There is a Megalith, 2 Megaliths, a Spider, a Galactic Colossus, and a Yathatha. That is every single direct fire T4 online moving towards the opposing base, where a lonely Megalith and a single Monkey Lord are all that's defending it. And those are already taking fire from that Skathis. Maybe it's at Blood Axe's ACU, maybe it's at the base, we will never know. But one way or the other, that son of a gun is going down. Megalith trading fire with Megalith, Yathatha adding DPS into the mix. Megalith turning to run, but that does mean that its firing pattern is going to get skewed. Megalith down, there is nothing left to defend that base. Orange building these chickens at a staggering pace. Marikashik is assisting for all he's worth, but by the time those walk up to the north, I don't think there's going to be anything they can do. Blood Axe running forward to grab the transport. He is fleeing into the back corner. Transport taking hits from the AA on those T4s, but he is going to get away safely, dropping back behind the line of Yathathas, which at this point, I don't think are going to be able to stop this mess coming in. SACU's on the north side. I think we can probably declare a winner unless there is a telemazer in the bag for someone. Blood Axe has Mazer, but only T3, no teleport, so that option is off the table. It does look like Korvathra, where is he? I know he had Microwave announced a minute ago. Microwave, teleport, and T3, but apparently he's just going to sit on it because the other teammates are taking care of the situation. Even going to reclaim that Tsar that went out there. Killed off the engineers and moving in to do it. Blood Axe under fire from that Skathis. Skathis taking down the shields in anticipation of the T4's arriving Megalith. Literally face to face with the Yathatha, gunning it down. There are 2 though, which will win versus a Megalith. There's veterancy from one, start pounding the other, but the lightning storm is going to make up the difference. There's the nuke. The experimental nuke launcher has launched. Yolanda be cool. Yes, that is an appropriate name. Here comes the 1 million damage nuke flying high and proud across the map. Blood Axe on a measly 1900 health. I don't think he'll survive a nuke strike of that proportion. Actually, he is going to go down either to the lightning or to something else falling from the sky. And there is the apocalyptic nuke. Look at the devastation ring on that thing. Far and away bigger than any other nuke in this game. It has been a long time since I've seen a Yelena Oss on the field. It is good to see that fellow back for one of those huge, devastating doomsday situations. At least he got to launch it. Didn't really play into the game, but we got to see the freaking thing hit the ground. Alrighty, guys. We can crown the Gap pros for this round. It is the right side team. Between the reclaiming of the T4s, 2 different T4s going down to reclaim on that hive right there. If you could get veterancy on a hive, that would have it. And everything else happening in this game wrapping up for a win on the right hand side. As always, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one. I know that this is a bit of an oddball cast, but I needed something good to get my spirits up, to get hyped up about, and ironically, that was a Gap game. It was a funny replay. Don't hate me. Alrighty, guys. I'm going to get out of your hair before I ramble on anymore. I will see you guys in the next one.